You're listening to host Dwwann B. Intelligent-ish talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
You're
Y'all,
listening to
what up?
Hotepish with your host, Dwwann B. Intelligent-ish talk. Yes, 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 yes. We are here live, bringing that intelligent-ish talk, intelligent shit talk. I say that every episode for a fucking reason. And let me tell you why. I get tired of people just because a nigga spread a little information, you know what I mean? Like talking that real talk. They want to hold you to some damn preacher moral standard. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't curse. Why do you talk about smoking weed? I'm a fucking human, that's why. Just because I chose a certain path to go down, don't mean I gotta be held to certain standards because you think people that walk that path needs to fit in some damn category. I'm too goddamn fat to fit in any category you want to put me in. Too tall. Personality too big. I'm too wide. Niggas always want somebody to be Jesus. Hell, Jesus is perfect and you still don't listen to everything that nigga said. Jesus said, judge ye not. What the hell you doing? Judging. When everybody that got information, it's not to everybody, of course. This isn't to 98% of y'all listening. But it's always those few. It's always those few who want everybody to fit in a small box. I ain't that one. I ain't that one. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for joining me. Thanks, Dion Chilling. You listened to the last Incense and Ashtrays? I love doing Incense and Ashtrays. I wanted to do it last night, but I had hella technical difficulties. I'm still going through technical difficulties. Like I see, can y'all hear my music in the background? Were I able to hear the intro? I'm able to see here on my interface that it's playing, but I can't hear shit. So you know, when it comes to the music, I can't be playing music for y'all and not be able to hear it. So I'm having some technical stuff I gotta work through. So, but when I get that these technical glitches worked through, I'm gonna be back live with y'all on Incense and Ashtrays playing more music. That's right, 3J. You with the nail on the head, brother. It's the age of us foul-mouthed, pussy-loving prophets. Amen to that. Amen to that. All that one. Look, when people were trying to be the perfect, the masses wanted them to be, niggas still wasn't listening. Martin Luther King lived the life that everybody said a leader should live. Did y'all listen? Malcolm X lived the life that they said a leader should live. Did they listen? Yeah, they may have heard the speeches, but did they apply what the people said? That's a litmus test of whether or not you listened. If somebody say some stuff that makes sense to you, that you think should be true, do you alter your life to live that path, or do you just listen and do then continue to fuck up and be mean to everybody you run across? I appreciate the Cash App, Dylan. I appreciate the Cash App, BB. Appreciate the donations. Cash App at Dwan Brown. You see it down there at the bottom line. Follow me on Instagram, y'all. Shit. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Okay, cool. Y'all can hear the background music? Good, because I can't hear shit. I just see it playing down here And I'm having faith. Because like when the intro was going on, I could not hear my intro. But I did see the faders bouncing. So I'm like, okay. Well, I hope they do. Yeah, you're right. You got to say righteous. I do live my life and I do stay righteous. But righteous is also, that's relative. Righteous is relative to whatever map and plan you have set for yourself. One thing I don't do is step on other people for my benefit. I believe it's enough space for everybody to do what the hell they want to do without having to stomp someone else out. I don't do that kind. I don't steal from people. I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in taking this, because this life ain't about you and the next person. This life is about you and you. This life is like golf. You competing against yourself. What's your highest aspiration? What are you doing to reach that high aspiration? And in the process of reaching that aspiration, are you harming and taking from others? My belief is, whatever the highest goal you set for yourself, if you striving for that and you go about that without harming other people, shit, that's a good life to me. Where a person's aspirations is up to them. Everybody ain't meant to be as rich as Bill Gates. Everybody ain't gonna be a bum and living homeless either. It's gonna be a lot in between. What do you set for yourself, and do you reach that? When you get knocked on your ass, do you get up and keep pushing, or do you just fail and take what someone else said and just live that mediocre, non-happy life because of fear? Which path do you decide for yourself? I can't judge either way because it ain't my goddamn business. I just hope that whatever path you guys decide to take, you walk it and not just talk it. Just don't be that nigga talking about the path, talking all goddamn day and night. Just don't be that nigga. Don't be that dude that's running your mouth all day about what you gonna do. You 40, saying the same things you said you gonna do in your 30s, saying the same thing you said you gonna do in your 20s. Like, look, dog, at some point you gotta stop being a I'm gonna do ass nigga. At some point you gotta be the this is what I've done. Then I've gone this far, but I got so much further to go. I got started. I ain't where I want to be, but I'm on the way. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Those kind of people that I fucks with. You may not be where you want to go, but you for damn sure on the way there. But if you that person that's just talking about it and you haven't taken a step in years, you gotta ask yourself, are you serious? And if you are serious, there are things called mental roadblocks. Look, I'm gonna get to the topic in a few minutes, but this is just coming to me to talk to y'all about this. We do all have roadblocks on that path. And that path is, those roadblocks are always within your own mind. You say some things, you see some things, you have some visions you want to do, but you don't believe in yourself. You never saw anybody in your family or any friends that have gone where you want to go. So you stop yourself thinking that's not possible. Well, you don't think it's possible because you haven't seen yourself in that light. Not because it's impossible. It's because that's how you view yourself. You can fix that. I recommend therapy, because oftentimes there are traumas that happen young in life, or there could be epigenetic traumas, things that happen in your DNA to your mama, your grandmama, your granddad, that got passed down to you genetically, and you have this fear that you can't get over. That's why I recommend direct therapy, talk therapy, hypnotherapy. Hit up Kendall Cobb, you know her. Star, can you please put her link up in the chat room? But y'all know Kendall Cobb. She did one of my shows before. She's a great hypnotherapist. They have traditional talk therapy. Maybe if you have any alive family members that had traumatic business, you have a grandparent or a parent that's alive still that had a traumatic experience in business, talk to them about it. What happened? Why did granddaddy have to sell his business? Or not? Why did granddaddy lose his business? We got to get back to communicating as a people. We think we crazy when really all we need to do is just talk to somebody and get it out. A lot of times you have the will to do things, you want to do things, your current situation ain't right. But there's this fear holding you back from making that leap. You have to confront the fear. You have to face it. It's not good enough to say, hey, I have a fear and just go the other direction. That's running. You can't run you can run your whole life. Shit, you be facing that same goddamn fear your next life too. You better face that shit. Because oftentimes once you face that fear, once you stare it down, once you address it, you realize it's not as big as whatever you created in your mind for it to be. The fears that we have are never as big as we create them to be. Let me say that again. The fears that we have in our mind are never, never, never as big as we create them to be. Look, folks, we humans, man. Humans got some dope ass imaginations. Humans got some imaginations. And we be imagining some bullshit about ourselves. We be imagining these worst case scenarios about ourselves based on a couple traumatic experiences, thinking we the worst, thinking we can't do this, we can't do that. When it's all made up in your mind. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that for posting Kendall's information in the chat room. And Star said you built a highway through your grandpa's store. Yeah, these things happen. Me and Star inboxed me a few times about what happened with her family, and I was like, man, like I appreciate those messages because I've been doing my family history a lot lately because I was disconnected from my family history forever. I just in the last 4 years started to really dig into my family history, and I found so much. And through finding my family history and learning who my ancestors are, who they were, and some of their traumatic experiences that they've gone through, I was able to then understand why I have certain fears. I'm like, certain things I didn't even go through, but I still had certain hang-ups. I remember one of my biggest hang-ups was when one of the houses I bought in my early 20s. The business partner that I bought the house to was hella cool, but I didn't know it was two dudes who owned a mortgage company. I knew one of them through a high school friend of mine, someone I'm still real cool with to this day. But she worked for them, and I got a house with them. Little did I know, the other business partner who I never saw at the office when I went, I only saw one of the guys, he was a shady motherfucker. And he had some shady dealings. So because my mortgage was done through his shit, I went through an unnecessary lawsuit. And my lawyer told me at the time, hey, Dwan, you're innocent, but it'll cost you 20, maybe 30 grand to prove it. He was like, but you're only 22, 23, you're young. You could just file bankruptcy and start over. So that's the path that I chose, not to contest it. I had my lawyer's advice. And I ended up getting hit with a big ass judgment, having to file bankruptcy, and having to start over. And that fucked me up because that was the first time I had ever failed at anything. Well, I thought I failed. Before that, nigga, anytime I did anything in business, I won. All of my late teens, early 20s, nigga, I felt like I had the goddamn golden hand. If I touched it, it was a win. But that situation was so traumatic to me. Me having that loss, or perceived, like I keep saying perceived loss, because at the time I saw it as a loss. Once I grew up and developed, I understood it wasn't a loss. It was just a learning lesson. But at the time, I perceived it as a loss. And I allowed that perceived loss to sit me down for an extended period of time. I didn't take any risks in business for like another 10 years. It took me at least another 10 years for me to dust myself off and get back in the game. But when I confronted what went on and faced it and dealt with it directly, I got to see, man, it wasn't all the shit that I put up in my mind. I created these worst case scenarios in my mind. Dwan, you should have did this and you shouldn't have did that. Oh, Dwan, how could you be so stupid? Nigga, you know loans, you know mortgage. You knew you should have did your due diligence. You knew you. Now I'm just judging myself harshly. God damn it. You knew you should have boom, 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 wham, wham, wham. That wouldn't have happened. Nigga, that shit fucked me up. But I had to take responsibility because I allowed it to sit me down for a long time. But at some point, I had to make the decision: am I going to stay down or am I going to get back up and start fighting again? Am I going to stay down or am I going to get back up and start fighting again? Well, I decided to get my ass up and start fighting again. That's the decision I made. And when I got my ass up and started fighting again, nigga, I started back winning it again. Shit. Because I'm a motherfucking winner. It's in my DNA. And it's in all y'all DNA too. Look, nigga, they don't enslave losers. They don't enslave weak people. They enslave people who lost the war imposed by Europe on the Americas. That's what happens when you lose a war, you get enslaved. Hey. But they enslave geniuses. They enslave mathematicians, scientists, because people are right. Black people are not the only people who've gone through slavery. When people want to argue with us, fine. Black Americans, you're right. We're not the only ones who've gone through slavery. But we are the only ones who've gone through slavery and as slaves set the norms for the dominant culture. Ethically, morally, scientifically, tangibly. It was Benjamin Banneker, black man, that created the Farmer's Almanac, which told the United States when to plant its crops because its fucking calendar was off. Because that European Gregorian calendar was goddamn stupid. Not done right. It was Benjamin Banneker that had to set the shit straight and make Big Ben, that clock in England, first clock to actually be on goddamn time with the universe. It was Benjamin Franklin that did that. Designed Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. It was Granville T. Woods and Lewis Latimer that created the communication devices, the telegraph, that ended up leading up to the phone, the light bulb. It was our genius. It was the black American genius that created the elevator, the air condition. It was George Washington Carver that saved us from World War II when Germany controlled the rubber supply. So George Washington Carver, using his soybean that he invented, created a new style of rubber independent of the resources controlled by Germany. That's what we're talking about today when it comes to the black tax. How the black tax funds America. And how we as black people, we think so lowly of ourselves. We don't be thinking that we can do it. And that falls over into all of us. You know, the only thing black folks think we can do is goddamn entertain people. Let's think about that shit for a second. We always the goddamn entertainment. We know we can hoop. We know we can box. We know we can play football. And then look what happens when a black man loses the fight, like Deontay Wilder. You niggas be more on his head than the white folks. Oh, he ain't shit because he lost one fight. Because all we think we can do is entertain people through sports and music and acting. We so much deeper than that. We are so much deeper than that. And we forget this. That's why I'm having this broadcast today. Share this with your kids. Yeah, they can hear these cuss words. Your kids hear and see way worse shit when they turn on these cartoons. I guarantee you. These cartoons are teaching your children to be subservient. They're teaching your black children that they're secondary citizens. That's why every little show on Nickelodeon and all these little teen shows and tween, early young kid shows got one black kid, 4 kids of other races. The other race kid is always the smartest one. The black kid's always the fuck up. So through the power of suggestion, when your black child sees themselves on TV every day, they see themselves as the side person, the charity case, the screw up, the one that has to defer to the white person for anything intelligent. They turn on TV and see black people getting arrested every day, misused, abused, or abusing, acting like fucking animals. The soul has been taken out of their music. Your children see a lot. They can hear my curse words. I promise you. Matter of fact, these curse words may help drive the fucking home point quicker and more effectively. Yeah, Poppin', we obsessed with idols and perfection. That's a problem. You're right, and you know, black, they judge us to our lowest common denominator. And that's something that we have to change in-house, okay? Let's get into talking about how the black tax funds America. You ever notice black folks? We're held to the highest standard, but we're given the least amount of resources. What do I mean by that? When we go to court, you don't see black people get the insanity defense. They don't consider your upbringing, societal conditions, all of these things that can give black people a lighter sentence in jail. When it comes to working and getting gainful employment that's just above base level, I'm not talking about the security jobs, because they'll give a black person, a black woman, a receptionist job, and a black man a security job. But when it comes to the jobs higher up in the companies that pay a good living wage, we have to be graduate of the best of universities, be able to speak the Queen's English, tolerate the most bullshit, and share the best of our ideas with everyone else in order to be considered for any position of significance within any company. We're held to the highest standard. Black politicians, although I'm not a fan of 99% of black politicians, I can still speak about this objectively. Like, y'all know I can't stand Mark Ridley Thomas, old too short looking ass. But he's basically getting federal charges for doing what white politicians do every day. Same thing happened with Omar Bradley in Compton, Kwame Kilpatrick in Detroit, Ray Nagin in New Orleans. They do what the white politicians do, but when the system is tired of them niggas go to jail. They go to jail. White politicians don't. But we're held to this high standard, but we're given the least amount of resources. I don't want to hear none of you, we can do it. I don't need their money ass niggas. Fuck y'all. Look, I pay taxes, goddammit. My mom, my dad pay taxes. My grandparents pay taxes. My great-grandparents pay taxes. Shit, I can show you a tax-paying American going back to the year 1660 on this land, goddammit. We pay taxes. You're supposed to get something back for them taxes. Black people receive the least amount in return for those taxes. Whenever we do get a little bit of resources, we got to share it with midgets, Asians, Latinos, people with bad breath, people who get to choose to cut their dick off. When them other communities, when they get some shit, it's exclusively for them. And they've historically paid far less taxes into this nation than us. As a matter of fact, these other groups have taken more in taxes historically than they've paid into it. It's like niggas get held to the Jesus standard. And that's what I was saying earlier about I'm not going to be held to anybody's standard just because I decided to get on YouTube and talk information. I'm not going to be held to it. I'm going to say what the fuck I want to say, when I want to say it, how I want to say it. And if you don't like it, you just going to have to deal with it. Because I don't give a fuck. I'm a human being, profound and profane. I'm both. Yeah, I said some profound shit. But I ain't got no issues going profane on your ass either. Yeah, I'm spiritual and I'm high-minded. Yes. But as you see all on the pictures, I have no issues going to the shooting range, letting off a few of my AR-15. All this shit is true. It's the same with us as a people. We ain't got to be no goddamn perfect people to get our resources back through taxes. People be like, man, well black folks just need to come together, man. We just need to. While I see Italians got organized crime and organized Italians, Asians, Mexicans, especially the white folks. These motherfuckers got pedophile rings, goddammit. These corporations, you want to talk about gangsters, damn the organized crime. The corporations are the biggest cartels in this country. Everybody in this country stealing from everybody. It's degeneracy all around. But it's black folks that be like, man, we just need to, man, you see them, that's why we don't get nothing, because we keep shooting each other. Meanwhile, you got a country that allows poison to be put in food, not only the fast food, but goddammit, the plants too. Monsanto controls our eating supply. This country controls the drug trade on the medical side of the game and on the street side of the game. All they do is try to kill their citizens. But you got niggas running around talking about what we need to do first before we get our money back. Black tax. Pay into some shit that we don't even get nothing back out of. That funds America. Oh, we just gonna keep taking from these niggas? And then use them to push our agendas? These niggas don't think. Vote blue no matter who. We can use their votes to push our agenda and redistribute the money that they pay into and have been paying into since the first tax was ever levied on this nation, it was a nigga somewhere paying on it? Because mind you, you people out there, that every black person wasn't a slave. They've always been free black people in the United States from day one. There have always been free black people paying taxes. And slaves were paying the ultimate tax, creating resources for this land without receiving a dime in compensation. It's 11:11. Please like and share the video, please. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining. So we're held to the highest standard, given the least amount of resources, yet pay what everyone else pays out of our resources back into the nation. That's a tax. Another tax is we're the face of all debauchery within this country. Like I was just saying, this is a degenerate society. The United States goes around the world picking on countries that they know can't fade them in war, bombing places out, changing their government, going and raiding their museums, stealing all their sacred knowledge and sacred history. This place creates wars within its own borders through the drug trade. Other groups, every group in this country has gangsterism going on, thievery, stealing from one another. But black people are the only ones that get our face put on all of that. That's a tax. Because you remember the game you started playing as a child, word association, when you associate a picture with a word or a word with an action. Black has become synonymous with criminal, with gangster, even though our gangs are the least organized in this country. We hold the label. So what does that do? It creates a perception in people's minds, even if they're not consciously being racist. In their conscious mind, it creates a perception that we're some subhuman species. So we get treated as such. We get treated as subhumans because we're perceived as subhumans, consciously. Oh yeah, get my webinar. Thank you for putting that up, Star. Learning how to communicate racism to children. Y'all need to start that shit. Start it early. Like, I mean, wait until a kid is damn near 17 years old to have a talk about the police. It's too late. By a kid 17, they've been raised in public school. That means they've been dealing with racism for 12 years by then. You better start right away, because they dealing with it right away. In that webinar, I break down how we're dealing with it right away and how to fix it. Because y'all know me, I don't just talk shit. I give solutions. But we're talking now how the black tax funds America. The black tax funds America through our music. It's another way. All music out of America comes from black people. Country, western, bluegrass, blues, jazz, rap, funk, rock, pop, dance, electronica, heavy metal. Go down the list. It was a black hand that created it. Music is America's officially number 2, but it's really the number 1 export across the world. It's number 1 export. Other cultures and other groups come to America and they get jobs and employment based off music that we created. Let me give you some examples. I'm here in LA. Every radio station plays black music. Every radio station, except every radio station that's in English, I should say, plays black music. Whether it be the soft rock station, whether it be the hip hop station, the rock and roll station, whatever genre they're playing, if it's in English, it's black music. But there are very few black DJs. Hell, I'm gonna start with the R&B stations. Well, we got KJLH, that's owned by Stevie Wonder. He's the last person that really has black disc jockeys. But when you listen to the jazz stations, the jazz station got white DJs, Latino DJs, Caribbean DJs, playing all that black music, but not one black DJ. Power 106, all Latino DJs other than Big Boy, playing black music. These radio stations, when it comes to music, they don't employ black people. Look at the record labels. Record labels don't employ black people. Now, you may have a black front person like Birdman or somebody like that. But when it comes to the higher up, the people, the distribution companies that distribute the music, they don't hire black people. They don't hire. Who are the A&Rs? They're not black. The people working behind the scenes, there are other races of people who aren't black. That means what we create is open to everybody. Yeah, I remember this picture, this from a few years ago with Title at Jay-Z. I said, that's my dyslexia showing up. I said, Title at Jay-Z. God damn, Dwan. Jay-Z at Title. Look at his staff. Black-owned company, playing black music. Like I said, black music is defined as all music out of the United States. All of it. I don't give a shit if it is country, western, or techno that got white faces playing it. That's still black music. Because at those white stations, at those Latino stations that play our music, you're not going to find a black DJ anywhere that plays their music, quote unquote, their style of our music. They're not going to hire us. But when it's our companies, when it's our music, we got to share that with everyone. And everybody you see here in this picture, these are the good paying jobs. These are the jobs that pay enough money for you to buy a house, not rent an apartment. Black people have the lowest home ownership because our jobs don't pay enough fucking money to buy a house. We're getting gentrified because our jobs don't pay enough to buy a house. These other people get the jobs that pay enough to buy a house off of something that we create. That's a black tax. Niggas created, everybody else profit off of it. A black tax is having some joker like Jay-Z saying, I'm doing this for the culture, and then you come turn around and get this. Because we're so down and out as a people, we're looking for leadership, we're looking for representation. We unwisely oftentimes put our faith in these bad actors, in these public personas, in these famous people with blue checks because they got a few songs that we like. And they turn around and use that to enrich themselves, two niggas around them. But look at who else gets the jobs. The real jobs. the head of marketing jobs, the creative consultant job, the executive assistant job. In the shit that's for us, by us, we don't even get those goddamn jobs. Black tax. That's the black tax. I just finished reading Maurice White's biography from the leader of Earth, Wind & Fire, Maurice White. Y'all know he's one of my all-time favorites. Maurice White. I think God created Maurice White to listen to himself produce music. That's how I feel about Maurice White's music. But Maurice White says something very interesting, and he brought this up about 4 or 5 different times in his book. He talked about Earth, Wind & Fire. Remember, in the late 70s, Earth, Wind & Fire was the biggest band on earth. They were bigger than the Rolling Stones. They were selling more concert tickets than the Rolling Stones. They were bigger than the Eagles. They were bigger than everybody. But he always talked about, even though they were as big as they were, they still had to get to #1 on the black charts before being considered on the Billboard overall 100 charts. Every black act, no matter how small, how big, had to go through extra processes to get pushed to the top. Yeah, I know that Billboard ain't ours and we shouldn't be looking to white folks for leadership. I get that. But when it comes to music, the amount of money you make as an artist, the amount of money you can demand for production deals is directly tied to where your music is placed on those charts. A white producer, a white band leader can just put some bullshit ass music together and go directly to #3 on the charts. A black band leader had to go through that gauntlet in the 70s of black talent. In order to get to the top of the black charts, that means you had to outperform Stevie Wonder, the Jackson 5 in the 70s. You had to outperform Teddy Pendergrass, Curtis Mayfield, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross. You had to outperform all these great acts. It ain't like today where it's only like 2 niggas they push. Back then, black music was all up and down. Tyrone Davis, goddammit, Enchantment, the Dramatics, the Spinners, the Isley Brothers. It was so much competition. You had to go through that muck first to then be considered for the primary Billboard charts. So that means, although Earth, Wind & Fire did get to the top of those charts, that means there was other music that was better than shit that was on the Pop 100, but it may have only reached 10 or 15 on the black charts. So since it only reached 10th or 15th on the black charts, it didn't get placed in the Billboard 100. Because again, the black music was far superior. Far superior. And those aren't my words. If you think Dwann is playing the race card, go ahead and read the Harvard report, a study done on black music, talking about black music being far superior than anything anyone else was doing. Just musically is too sophisticated. And that's why they had to create things like auto-tune. Because Stephanie Mills can hit that note. She don't need auto-tune. But Donna, on the other hand, Cher, on the other hand, might need a little bit of help. So they purposely dumbed our music down starting in the 80s through the 90s. They dumbed it down so others can keep up. Black tax. We got to slow the progress of what the fuck we got going down because these other dumb motherfuckers can't keep up. I posed this question the other day. I meant to post it. Whatever happened to power singing? Like, you remember back in the 80s, you had all kinds of great power singers, Luther Vandross, Vesta, Stephanie Mills, Whitney Houston, Freddie Jackson, James Ingram, Peebo Bryson. Go down the list. Anita Baker, Patti LaBelle. I mean, when people that sang. Shirley Murdoch. You know, any black woman named Shirley can sing. Shirley Murdoch, goddamn. Michelet. During the 90s, the record industry purposely stopped re-signing those artists. They let all of them artists out their deals. Because during the 90s, it was like, nah, that music too powerful. Everybody can't do that. We got to dumb this music down to where people can, we got to, think about it. In an environment where singers like Shaka Khan, Kelly Price, Stephanie Mills, if they're getting the best production, if they're getting the better budgets to hire the best producers and get the best instrumentation, there's no way in hell you can have Rihanna on the top Billboard Top 2000. Rihanna wouldn't be a thing. Hell, truth be told, Beyonce, she would be around, but she wouldn't be in the top 10. In an environment where real singers are given the same production budgets, they don't really sing anymore. Trey Songz, what the fuck is that? I put a post up this morning. Trey Songz, Usher, Chris Brown. Man, if you don't get that plastic R&B fake ass shit out of here, ain't got David Bowie, that white boy David Bowie got more soul than all three of them niggas combined. The music industry kicks out black talent. Black tax. We can't even be great in music that we create. Now that we can't do that and get radio play, now you can find it on the internet. Like, thank God for the internet. So I was able to find Corey Henry, J-Mo, Alex Izzy, these Brandon Williams, these great artists that are out there putting out music, Anderson .Paak, but they don't necessarily get radio play. The internet, Steve Lacy, Thundercat. You got to find them niggas. Black tax. We can't even be great in shit that we create. We have to dumb our shit down to give opportunities to other people. Do we ever think about that? We had to dumb down our music so groups that hate us can get a chance to shine. Black tax. Yeah, Jasmine Sullivan is dope, but she don't get mainstream access like that. Anthony Hamilton just released a dope-ass R&B album. Dope. You don't hear nobody talking about that. Corey Henry he released a dope album last year and another one this year. 2 dope-ass albums. I ain't never heard none of them hoes get played on the radio. Kamasi Washington and the West Coast Get Down revolutionized jazz. Those brothers, Kamasi, the West Coast Get Down, that whole crew, they're playing to sold out venues worldwide. And they don't even get played on the local K-Jazz Black J radio. Used to be black founded, but white owned now, radio station. That ain't a bunch of bullshit. You right, B-Part. They promote non-FBA artists like Wale. Wale ain't got no goddamn soul. Wale cool. They don't like the black people that they do have out there on the radio. They ain't from here. They don't have soul. They don't have our soul. They have a soul. They have the soul of where they come from, which is great. These people come from great places. But when it comes to R&B, that's Black American soul. That's slavery and Jim Crow being expressed through music. People who weren't in the United States for slavery, people who weren't in the United States during Jim Crow, don't have the soul to express the music that we created as an expression on how to deal with those conditions and circumstances. Black Tax. Other groups get to come here and play our music. If these other people who play our music were so great, they will be great playing the music in the islands and the countries that they come from. We'd be like, oh shit, Rihanna bringing that Caribbean sound to America. Damn, that shit is hot. She ain't playing that shit. These non-FBA rappers, they're not bringing that. Ain't no damn Puerto Rican or Jamaican music getting played in the United States. Now, like with reggaeton and with ska and with dancehall, those are island expressions of black music. Though that's black. That's our black cousin music. That's Black Americans' cousins music. That shit ain't even that's really our music expressed your way. And we'll like a certain song or two, but going back to your original sounds before Black American music had influence on your culture. When last time you heard a goddamn Caribbean song with some steel drums and some congos hit #1 on the charts? Never. Not never. You get to come here and benefit on what we created while we have to pay the black tax, and sit in the back. Black tax. Our culture being capitalized on. Let's go down a few things that's on our culture that America capitalizes on. People come here, Cajun food, like Cajun Creole food. You know, Asians and white folks be cooking that shit. It don't even be us. Not here in LA. Now when I go in other parts of the country, I see non-black people selling black products. Louisiana fried chicken, all Asians. Our culture being sold back to us from groups that couldn't sell us their culture if it came with a 90% discount. Black tax. When it comes to style, do y'all notice this shit? Remember back, the two cars that change everything as far as how cars are designed. The 2001 Escalade and the 2002 BMW 7 Series. The 2002 BMW 7 Series. Dwan, how did that change and revolutionize the auto industry? Glad you asked. And I talked about this before. Long-time listeners may remember me talking about this before. Bring it up again because it's appropriate to this broadcast. These two cars here. Before these two cars were made with smaller wheel wells. They were made with smaller wheel wells because, you know, rims weren't really a thing. Rims were just something that black folks did. But it would be the black people who would cut wider wells in the wheels to fit bigger rims. That was our style. The black style was to put, back in the early 90s, man, you wasn't shit. Like when them 93, 94 Suburbans, Dubs, 20-inch rims. Shaq was a big part of that, putting that out Dub magazine. But Shaq always having his cars with these big old rims, 20, 22-inch rims. It was like, oh shit. We changed car culture. Cause we was really into them big ass rims. So 2001 Cadillac redesigned they shit to have big wheel wells. Boom, niggas was the main one buying them hoes. Cause on them 2001 Escalades, you could put 26s on those. 24s and 26s. The Hummer, the H2, when that came out. The H2, you can get 26s on your shit. They make these cars with big wheel wells, watching what Black America did. And that changed the fortunes of these companies. BMW couldn't keep them BMW 7 Series on the lot with them big old wheel wells. And then by the time you get to 2003, 2004, the white boys start taking notice. Appreciate the Cash App for the culture. And they started putting wheels on their cars. Now when you see big rims rolling around town, you just see that as part of America. No, that was America studying black culture and digesting its product to fit black style. Black tax. They study what we do, how we get down. And in doing that, they make lots and lots and lots and lots of money off of it. And before any of you corn-fed niggas go around talking about what black folks just need to. All right, who's gonna fund it? These aren't things that black people haven't tried to do or did do. And were ultimately sabotaged by the same country that they created these products in. Other groups aren't sabotaged by their own country when they come into the United States and do these things. We are black tax. Black tax. But love, you had the 22s on the 745. That's hilarious. Come dipping through LA. That's funny. You ride them spree wells, the spinning rims. Black culture funding America. Everything that I'm talking about here, other groups come and create jobs, and when they create those jobs, they purposely keep black people out of it. You see what's going on right now in the hair industry. Black women, black men and women who open up hair stores end up getting their shit shut down because of the dirty business practices Asians have. Asians charge them more. They can control distribution. They screw up the distribution lines on purpose. So they end up making the money off of what we create, again, with the help of the government, allegedly. And we're left holding the bag. That's the black tax. Black parents, are you sharing this with your children? Your children have to know that they're not stupid. They have to understand that there's something that happened to us as a people. We not just randomly running around here underachieving. Black people aren't underachieving for underachieving's sake. There's a tax that we have to pay in all areas of activity. There is a tax that we have to pay in all areas of activity. That's why I got this shirt right here by Dr. John Henry Clark. It's now available in a hoodie. Black people don't owe anybody anything but an ass whooping. Y'all can go find that quote in Dr. John Henry Clark's famous speech, "We have no friends." We don't owe anybody anything but an ass whooping. Black tax. A tax that we pay every day. We pay a tax on our inventions. Think about it. You're right. Every country has slavery. Y'all had slavery in the Caribbean. You guys are right. You did. There was slavery in South America, in Brazil, in Mexico, and until certain times, in Europe. Yes, black people sold other black people into slavery. All the cliches, okay, for argument's sake, you can have that. Great. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I can bring up different nuances and details that corrects that perception, but I'm not. I'm going to let you have that. Everyone was enslaved. That's what people say when it comes time to talk about reparations. When it comes time to talk about the position black people are in, we've all been mistreated. Okay, fine. You're right. But when it comes on down to creations that pushed certain countries ahead of other countries economically, the difference is Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans. Native Black Americans. Descendants of American slaves, DOS, DOAS. If you're part of ADOS, fine. I don't want to get into none of that shit. If you can trace your bloodline back to the 1860s here on this land, you're who I'm talking about. Oh, Dwan, what do you mean? Well, here's what I mean. When you go back and study the Industrial Revolution, this is back when England was still the #1 economy in the world. The United States did not have the money England had back then. Did not have the money that France had at certain points in history. What pushed America ahead of everyone, because everyone had slavery, was the cotton gin. Because remember when America was first built, it was built on tobacco, not cotton. But when it got cotton, and there was one thing in particular that pushed America ahead of everyone, and that's the cotton gin. If you study American history and study what was going on economically around the world, you know that it was the cotton gin that made America a behemoth, a financial behemoth. Well, they give the credit to the cotton gin to Eli Whitney. Eli Whitney was no more than the slave owner, because back then slaves couldn't own patents. But Eli Whitney's slaves, the black folks, created this contraption right here that separated the seeds from the cotton. And it allowed the United States to produce cotton on steroids. The cotton out of Egypt couldn't come as fast. The cotton out of West Africa couldn't come out as fast. Cotton is grown all across the world. But the United States can produce more of it at 10 times the rate because of this one invention right here, which pushed America's economy past the economies of nations of the Dutch, of the French, of the German, and these European countries who had plantations all across the world. This cotton gin is what separated the United States of America from everyone else. Invented by who? Black people. I don't have time to go down all the inventions. I'm just going to name a few. In the chat room, you guys can list as many inventions as you want. I don't have time to name every invention because we invented too much shit. We got pushed ahead because of communications. I mentioned earlier, Granville T. Woods, Lewis Latimer, the people that were inventing the things that Thomas Edison got credit for. We were the first with the phone, first with the fax machine, meaning we had better communications than the rest of the world. If you can communicate better, that means you can do better. What pushed America's economy ahead of the rest of the world in the 1940s? George Washington Carver alone. We're not gonna talk about, okay, we invented the elevator. So the elevator allowed us to build taller buildings because we can get up and down really easily. We're not gonna talk about that. We invented the refrigerator, so that allowed us to produce food at a much higher rate because we now had a way to store that food because we invented the freezing system and refrigeration system that then allowed the United States to export its food around the world. We're not going to talk about that. We talk about that later. Let's just talk about George Washington Carver alone. George Washington Carver invented the soybean. What's the significance? Why, Dwan, is your fat ass talking about the soybean? I'm talking about the soybean because the soybean is what created the rubber, is what created that we use. It's what created plastic. Do you know that there was once a world without plastic? He invented so much that this economy used to sell to the rest of the world. He invented the assembly line for Henry Ford. There were other iterations of the car. The Duray brothers, black folks. Other parts of the world started, even though the car was invented in America, other parts of the world started inventing things, having their own versions of the car. But it's because of George Washington Carver, the United States had what's now known as the assembly line. And the assembly line allowed the United States to produce its goods on steroids. While the rest of the world was putting things together by hand, one person at a time, this man's brain said, shit, let's just put all that stuff on the line. And instead of producing one car at a time or 10 cars a day, you can now produce tens of thousands of cars a day. Going back to the cotton gin, guess what? When you produce more, guess what? That means you sell more. When you sell more, that means what? You get more money. It's no accident the United States economy is a behemoth. The difference between the Black American and the slaves across the diaspora and the black folks across and the people across the diaspora, not just black folks, all other ethnic categories, is when we were down and out and at the worst point in our history, enslaved and being Jim Crow, which can be argued was worse than slavery in a lot of ways. Jim Crow. We invented things that didn't exist before we created them. We invented inventions that were tangible for this nation to then produce and sell. The shit didn't come out of nowhere. There's no mystery as to why the United States economy is the behemoth that it is and got pushed past as such a young nation. I remember this country ain't even 300 years old yet. This country ain't even 300. We ain't even pushing 250 years as a nation yet. But it's the world's biggest and greatest economy because of what was produced from the mind of the Black American. Again, music. Why is American music number one around the world? It's because black people invented the drum set, the electric guitar, perfected the playing of the electric bass, and created genres of music that the world still enjoys till this day. And they buy our music like crack. Yet, we benefit the least of it. Because when you economically deprive a group of people, you can then take what they invent and then take and control the industries. Like I said before, my great-great-grandfather invented the automatic railroad crossing. He had to sell the patent. He couldn't afford to develop it, so he had to sell it. Appreciate the cash out, Smooth. Black tax. You're right, Octoria. The body of Henrietta Lacks. The United States medical industry got pushed far ahead of the rest of the world because of how they gene spliced Henrietta Lacks. Yes, everyone was enslaved. But who else can boast a record like this during and just out of slavery? We got to know this as a people. And this isn't about hating other groups. No, it's not. No, it's not. They get to be whoever the hell they want to be. I don't care. I really don't care. Do it, fine, whatever. This is about us recognizing who we are. That's what this is about. This is about us as a people knowing who we are and being honest about who we are. And stepping into and living our greatness. That's what this is about. This is about us claiming our cultural heritage. Because once you claim what's yours, what the fuck can anybody else do anything about it? And another thing you're going to do when you claim what's yours, you're going to then protect it. The reason why we haven't been protecting what's ours is because we never wanted to claim it. We kind of just create great things and move on. We don't even think about it. But when you claim it, Now you start to protect it. And once we start protecting our culture and our creations and the things that our minds produce, at that point, what can others do? You don't have to fight them. We got to fight that demon in our own mind, like I've been saying. You can't fight an idea. The reason why the United States keeps losing in these wars in Afghanistan and Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, they keep losing because they fighting people who have an idea of cultural pride and continuity. And we're not going to allow you to come in and change that. You can bomb us for 20 years, but when that bombing is done, we gonna still be who the fuck we gonna be. I don't give a damn how big a military is. A military cannot defeat that. When we make it up in our mind that our cultural heritage is something worth holding, being prestigious, and defending, I don't give a damn how many books they write. They can do as many documentaries as they want, as many TV shows as they want. They can conflate our issues with LGBTQ and everything. They can do what the fuck they gonna do. But when we own and control our cultural resources, it ain't gonna mean shit. They ain't gonna be able to stop shit. All they gonna be able to do is talk. And who gives a damn about somebody running their mouth all goddamn day? That's why I don't have any issues with, like, I don't give a shit. I don't have any hate or contempt in my heart for any other group. When I see other groups invent and create things, I'm like, that's what's up. That's dope. Because the more people, if you're Mexican, you have a fuck ton to be proud of. You do. If you're Jamaican, if you're Puerto Rican, from Trinidad, Cuba, Dominican, Nigeria, Brazil, Nicaragua, there's something to be proud of. All you niggas did something. The only people that didn't create anybody is from that rock over in Europe. But even they have certain things to be proud of. They could be proud of the way that they done Jedi mind trick the whole goddamn world's minds. What the European has done in the last 500 years is nothing short of amazing. Nothing short of amazing what they've done. To go from those caves of Europe, enslaving themselves, not bathing, not knowing how to read or write. To go from that to dominating the resources across the planet in less than 500 years. Hey, I don't look at history I don't take this shit personal. Every group has its ups and downs. Hell, go back and study the history of the Dragon Moors. You understand why these Europeans want to enslave us, and they scared as shit and don't fuck with black people. Yeah, the Phoenicians, the Phoenix Moors brought enlightenment. Yeah, that's true. Saved them from the bubonic plague and, the chicken pox and but them Dragon Moors, them niggas used to just go through Europe slapping white boys and taking their wives and putting them on ships. Go look it up if you think I'm lying. Them Dragon Moors wasn't shit. Them niggas was some assholes. They would kidnap white folks and put them on their boats as slaves on their ships. All when they talk about the medieval times, the medieval times, it was when them dragon decided to go through Europe and get some white pussy. They put them white boys through hell. They was them dragon was fucking them white boys up. So when the white boys got the upper hand, hey, I get it. I get it. History ain't personal to me. It's just information that I use to guide my actions today. I'm not excusing white folks for what they did and what they continue to do. But history is changed and altered through war. Who wins and who loses. All this talk about Europe, hell, the Ottoman Empire still controlled a hell of a lot up until World War I. The Ottoman Empire, them motherfuckers held on to shit for a long ass goddamn time. People don't understand that World War I was a fight between Europeans over who was going to control the resources left over by the now defeated Ottoman Empire. That's Romania, Northern Africa, was quote unquote the Middle East. World War I was a fight between Russia, Germany, Italy, the United States, the Dutch, the French, over who was going to control all them resources. And to the victor goes the author of the story. I hope y'all sharing this with y'all kids. Y'all, they ain't gonna learn this shit in history class. They're not gonna learn this in history class. Gotta get out our emotions and see it for what it is. And when you see it, like going back again to facing your fears. You face your fears. You stare them hoes down. Look them dead in the eye. That's what you do. And then once you do that, you overcome them. That's how this shit works. You face them fears dead in the fucking eye. So it is what it is. You're right, Lori Brown. History is a pack of lies agreed upon. That's all history is. That's when it is. That's when it was. That's when it was. I hear you, FBA Strong in the chat room. No, World War I was about cutting up the Middle East. Africa had already been conquered by then. The Berlin Conference divided up Africa back in 1884. World War I was during the 19 teens. Africa had, for the most part, already been conquered by the time we get to World War I. World War I ended the Ottoman Empire, which controlled North Africa. They're the ones who made North Africa light-skinned. Egypt, Libya, those countries. All the way over to Morocco. The Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire were an amalgamation of the native Africans and the Caucasian, the Arabs. And the Arabs are, like John Henry Clark said, bastard child of a bastard child. The Arabs are when white folks originally came out of the Caucasus Mountains thousands of years ago and mated and intermingled with those people in North Africa, bringing them that lighter skin, your Persians, your Armenians, your Saudi Arabians. what's now Iraq, Iran, what used to be ancient Mesopotamia. That was the Ottoman Empire. You don't hear about the Ottoman Empire because they're now defunct. But when we're talking about world history, when we're talking about why things are the way they are, you got to talk about all these things. See here, this is a picture of the Ottoman Empire. And it tells you the different times that these lands were taken over. The Nile, the Red Sea, all of these countries up in here, all these stand countries and shit. Persian Gulf over here. World War I was a fight between Europeans over who was going to control this land. That's what that war was about. And over here too. To the right. Over there too. This actually may be a better map right here. Let me get another map. Let me get another map out. Let me get another map. I hate when this happens. I get a map out. I get an image, but it's not a JPEG. See, I've been doing this shit off the top of my head, y'all, because I just have a good ass memory. Like, shit just comes together, but I don't be prepared for certain parts. This is off top. It may be certain shit I say that's wrong or inaccurate by a few dates. But here you go. Y'all see we're here, Iran and all these countries over here, Turkey. Yeah, this is the Ottoman Empire. So when they won that, when World War I was over, remember Germany fought on the side of the United States. Remember that. Germany and the United States were friends during World War I. What Germany did when that war was over with was the first thing they did was go in and get all this science that was here. Because remember, the Ottoman Empire, they're the ones who conquered and took over ancient Mesopotamia. They're the ones who drove the black people out of this area. These are the ones that 1,000 years before this, they drove the dark people out of Egypt and into West Africa, into Mali, down into the Sudan and other parts of Africa. When they started spreading Islam, that's when they started spreading Islam through North. That's why all those Northern African countries are Islamic. It was the Ottoman Empire that was creating those wars on those black people, which when slavery came from Europeans, by the time the Europeans get to Africa, Africa had already been dealing with all of these fucking issues because they were facing the Ottoman Empire to the north, the Indians to the east, and they had been fighting these wars for over 1,000 years. So by the time the European came along, they came around a group of people who were just fucking tired of fighting. So whenever they talk to you about what about black on black crime, hell, talk to them about what about white on white crime. Why was y'all killing each other over resources that didn't belong to you? The reason why Germany got ahead of everyone else scientifically, because they were the first ones in these museums getting that old Mesopotamian African knowledge. That's why they were so dominant early on. That's why Germany had the best scientists. Because they got to go right to where science was created and get them documents. See, the other documents are being held down here in the Vatican. You know, they've been held in the Vatican since the fall of the Roman Empire. But what wasn't in that Vatican, them Germans got at the end of World War I. And then when the United States beat Germany in Germany used that information and started marching in on Europe and dominating Europe and killing other Europeans. So Russia put an end to that. And the United States came in towards the end of World War II. When 90% of the war had been fought, the United States came in and took credit for the whole win. And then went right into Germany and took all of those Nazi scientists who got their information out of Africa and moved them to the United States, specifically the Silicon Valley in Orange County here in California. That's why Boeing was once based down here. That's why Raytheon is based down here. The aerospace companies, all of those tech companies, Hewlett Packard up in the Silicon Valley, they're all based out here in California because that's where the fucking Nazi German scientists went. I didn't mean to go this far in my history lesson for today, but I figured it all tied in because we gotta, as people, we gotta understand where all this shit come from. It ain't just no mistake that all this has happened. It's not just happenstance. All history is a current event. That's what Dr. John Henry Clark says. So the black tax that funds the United States of America. I'm gonna get to my last point before I get up out of here. I want to make about this. Look at the NCAAs. Look at college. Colleges make so much money right now off of Black America. It's the football and the basketball programs that raise money for these colleges. These colleges get network deals. The Pac-12 has its own network deal. The ACC, the Big Ten, all these goddamn conferences, the SEC network, all based off of black athletics and sports. People in America, especially white people, choose their college that they're going to go to, usually based on a sports team. Just listen to them talk. Let's listen to your average white woman talk. Yeah, I chose Duke University because, my dad, he was such a Blue Devils fan growing up. It was just Duke Blue all over the place. And so, yeah. Oh, I chose the University of Alabama because my dad, he loves their football team, Nick Saban. I just grew up in a house where my dad watched Alabama football, and I knew when I was 8 years old, I wanted to go to the University of Alabama. United States citizens choosing at a young age to go to college because of the team that their family likes. People literally choose colleges off of a fucking sports team. Those universities then get to set the price of admission because once you've made it up as a 7-year-old, what school you're going to go to, that means what? You're going to go regardless of the cost, especially if the government over there is giving you a loan. Now, they ain't going to give you no loan to start no business now. They're not going to give you a loan to get a house. You're already paying a rent that's expensive as a mortgage. They ain't going to say, oh, let's just give him a loan. You're already paying that amount. You ain't got to pay no down payment. Yeah. No, but you can get that money to go to college now. How much you need? $10,000 a year? $20,000 a year? $50,000 a year? We got you. So universities then get a chance to charge whatever the fuck they want to charge. And if you live in a city right now, go through your city that's being gentrified. I guarantee you it started with, and it's being perpetuated by one of the local universities. Here in LA, When we talk about the jungles, people from LA know about the jungles, how infamous the jungles are. Well, the jungles are being gentrified by USC. All up and down Jefferson Boulevard, Rodeo Road, which is now Obama Exposition. USC buying properties all up and down them corridors. USC gets the money because its football team is so popular, especially back in the day. And they get to charge what they want to charge. So they then get to buy your neighborhoods out. It's happening right now in Howard. And that's a so-called HBCU. We literally fund the economy. There are whole cities in the Midwest, down south, on the West Coast that are funded by the local universities. The local universities with major college money. University of Oklahoma, goddamn built up the city of Norman, Oklahoma. LSU, USC, Penn State, North Carolina Tar Heels, University of Michigan, the Oregon Ducks. All of these are in places that otherwise, not all of them, most of them are in places that otherwise don't have any kind of real economy, any kind of real tax base. But the university. The reason why the university has so much money is because of how their Negroes perform on the field of play. Black tax. It should go deeper than college athletes not getting paid. Hell, you guys literally create whole cities off of our talent. We don't get the same in reverse. Y'all talking about in the chat room, yeah, prisons fund cities. Black tax. They're able to build these prisons because they know they're going to create laws targeting black people to fill them. So you got all these little cities here in California, Tehachapi, Susanville. All these little cities that their whole economy is based off the prison. Black tax. Appreciate the Cash App, DeAndre. Appreciate that. So again, black people, we don't need to go around in shame, holding our heads low. We need to be proud of who we are and claim our cultural identity. Because once we claim it and own it, we'll figure out ways to control it. And when we figure out ways to control it, we'll then figure out ways how to tax other motherfuckers for using it. Check. No disrespect to other groups. No hate to other groups. It's just time that we own and control ours. Because nothing about us, when we own and control, when we own companies, we're the most fair people there. We are the most fair Americans. Period. Go look at Motown Records. When Motown was black owned and operated, the first female A&R in music was out of Motown. Motown had no issues hiring a Jewish lawyer or white people in certain positions and women in certain positions. Whoever got the job done was who got the job. Look at the black church. The black church has been the #1 employer of black LGBTQ. Hell, you ain't gonna get a good choir unless it's full of LGBTQ folks up in that motherfucker. Yeah, black people talk a little shit, but the highest paid position in church behind the pastor is music director. Shit, and 2/3 of the music directors in church is gay. We don't X people out of our economy because of how they look or their gender. This isn't a theory. All you gotta do is look. Black people own and control very little. The little we own and control is basically music and church and barbershops. We all know the barbershops always had that one gay chair. We knew homie that had that chair on the end was a little fruity. We didn't give a shit. We talk and we crack all kind of gay jokes in front of them. The few times we've owned, look, do y'all know, I said this before, the Beatles' first record deal in the United States of America, I talked about this in my interview with Mr. Bobby Rush, was from VJ Records, a black-owned record company out of Chicago. They signed the Beatles to their first distribution deal. Capitol Records passed on them. Capitol Records said, we don't want you, Beatles. So the black-owned label did it. And after the success of Twist and Shout, look it up if you think I'm lying. After the success of Twist and Shout, a song the Beatles took from the Isley Brothers, not took from, but remade from the Isley Brothers. That's what made CBS, or was it Columbia? I'm dyslexic. I'm talking about either CBS or Columbia. Excuse my dyslexia. 2 C's, nigga. I'm confused. They sued VJ Records into high heavens. They sued VJ Records out of business in order to get the Beatles back. That's who we are as black people. When we own and control shit, look, if you got talent, we got you. It was black folks that put Tina Marie out, nigga. It was black folks that shared with Elvis the culture that allowed him to steal and do what he did. Whenever we own and control shit, we ain't never discriminated against other groups. So if you're someone from another group and you're taking offense to what I'm saying, you need to check your own racial biases and look in the mirror. Because we ain't never done with our companies what other groups have done to us. You dig what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? Black tax. The tax that we pay in America that funds America. We literally fund it. See, most people, when they talk about the black tax, we know the obvious black taxes, traffic citations, fines. We're the most taxed when it comes to that. We receive the least benefit from the taxes that we pay. But like I've showed you in this broadcast today, we put more far into this nation than we take out. Other groups are allowed to come to this nation and capitalize off our creations while this country creates laws and barriers for us to capitalize on our shit. You dig? What you niggas talking about in this chat room? Let's see what y'all talking about. I'm about to get up out of here in a second. I'm about to get up out of here. What's up, Kenneth Berry? What's up, Mama Zeke? What's up, Elliot Thomas? Thank y'all for joining the chat room. Damn, you said the dorm room situation at Howard? Y'all got roaches and students outside in tents protesting? God damn, see? Yeah, I heard it's going down at Howard right now. And the school administration trying to whip you niggas back in the check. See, I personally don't have much respect for Howard University because of how they treated William Leo Hansberry, how they treated Dr. John Henry Clark, how they treated Dr. Ben, and how they treated Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And all of the great scholars. If Howard University was what it said it would be, why is it then Dr. Edwin Nichols, who's still alive, and Dr. James Smalls, who's still alive, Dr. Cabo, all these great minds that we have that truly care about Black Americans first, why ain't none of these black folks got tenure? Y'all got immigrants running the university, and y'all giving preferential treatments to people whose family didn't build this country. I got issues with Howard University, but it does, I know some dope people who went there. Salute to y'all individually. Salute to those who've gone to Howard University or any HBCU, and you've gotten from them the knowledge and the resources to make a great life for yourself. Hell, I went to Cal State Northridge. Fuck them too. Shit, the whole university system is a scam. But the difference with me is I paid my way through cash. I stayed at home with my parents when I was in college. My dad came through to my barbecue I had on Saturday. I got to kick it with my dad. I love my dad and my mom and my sister. I stayed home with them when I was in college, and I paid my way through cash. I was at Santa Monica College. I was like, oh shit, all y'all need is $300 for the semester. Boom. Then when I went to Cal State Northridge, oh shit, $1,500 a semester. I'll put that on my debit card. See, I knew college was a scam, but I don't owe them motherfuckers no more, and I got my degree. Howard, y'all gonna be paying them niggas back for the next 60 years. And they feeding a bunch of bullshit. What's up, Kenneth Berry, my fellow CSUN graduate? Salute to Kenneth Berry. That's right, Black. Howard is just a Democratic indoctrination site. I agree. Damn, Star, you say you regret sending your daughter there? Yeah. But I appreciate y'all for joining. It's a rainy day here in Southern California. I forgot to put my damn thing back on my barbecue grill. Shit. My barbecue grill about to get wet because I forgot to put the cover back on it. Shit. But thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. Remember this. Get your merch at hotepish.com/apparel. The website is being redone as we speak. It'll be up, and I will have a sale for y'all when it's up. I will have a sale for you guys once it's up. But it's being reworked right now. and we will have it up for you soon. And remember this: there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up the game. My name is Dwan B. We out.